Welcome, moviegoers, to another chilling episode of Cinema Buckets. We are here to peel back the curtain on the master of fear, the architect of nightmares, and the storytellers we make our hearts race in the dark. Today's guest is a true legend in the horror world. You know his work from the cult classic Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, or the wickedly twisted holiday horror film Secret Santa, and other films like Texas Chainsaw 3D, Momentum, Conspiracy, and Sundance hit Let It Snow. In this episode, we'll dive into the journey through the genres, the secrets behind his most infamous creations, and what it really takes for a scare and delight audiences. So dim the lights, turn the volume up, grab your popcorn, and join me as we welcome the man who sent Jason to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man, Adam Marcus. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How you doing, Alex?
I'm pretty good, man.
Good. Love the shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, you know.
Yep. It's awesome.
I like the poster in the back, and we'll definitely
Thank
talk
you.
about that. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
again
Absolutely. It's
something.
weird to have a 23-year-old me right behind me. So it's a little
You
strange.
look the same, just a beard, man. There you go.
Similar. Well, actually, I had a beard then too, but I shaved it off for that shoot. So yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, man. I do appreciate it. Again, you kind of hit almost every genre. You know, a lot of people just kind of stick with just
Yeah.
one thing in horror and stuff. You kind of, dabbled in a few genres, which is really cool, and I admire that.
Thanks,
It's
man.
you don't see that often, right? With a
No,
filmmaker kind of just
no.
going around and doing whatever he wants, you know?
No, usually, especially for horror filmmakers, we
Yeah.
get kind of pigeonholed. Especially when I started making movies. Now it's a little more open. You got David Gordon Green, who did the latest Halloween trilogy, but he came from dramas and comedies like Pineapple Express or a
Yeah.
great movie called George Washington that he started his career with. So there are definitely ways that filmmakers can move around now. Back then, no, and I made a really concerted effort to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you see it, you're right. You perfectly. I mean, you have Jordan Peele, especially a lot
Mhm.
of these comedians and
Yes,
they're going into and dabbing into that sort of and they're making hell of a film. That's the crazy.
absolutely,
You know, people are
absolutely.
like, so it's a different time. But
Hmm.
let's talk about your time. How did you get into film? I know you're younger, you were all about it, right? You were in
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I produced my first movie when I was 21, for Disney. So by the time I was 23, I was like an old hand in the business. And so at 23 is when I wrote and directed, or I wrote Jason Goes to Hell. I started in 21, and we shot it when I was 23. But I started my career really early on. Look, like almost every filmmaker of my age. I was 9 years old when my dad took me to the second day screening, a Saturday afternoon screening of the original Star Wars, back before it was called Episode 4. It was just Star Wars. And I sat in that theater, and I'd always loved movies. I was already a big fan of film, and my whole family were in the industry to some extent, except my dad.
Okay.
He was a interior designer and space planner in Manhattan. But my whole rest of my family were either actors on Broadway or have you ever seen The Burning?
Yes, yeah, classic.
Okay. So Eddie in The Burning, the guy gets the shears in his throat on the raft. That's
Yes.
my uncle. That's
That's
my uncle Ned.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We lost him a couple years ago. But he's an amazing performer. And if you ever watch Law and Order, he's in 100 episodes of Law and
oh,
Order. So
cool,
he's
cool.
he's that guy. And my other uncle, Joe Ellison, was the writer, director, producer of the movie Don't Go in the House. So there's a lot of sort of horror cred. My grandmother dated Ira Levin for a long time. I mean,
Oh,
like, there's a
wow.
lot of stuff. But mostly my family is known as Broadway singers and actors. That was kind of our area. So there I am on the second day of Star Wars opening, and I'm sitting in the theater, and the moment the Tantive 4 flew over my head, followed by the Star Destroyer,
You're
I,
like,
I just I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And I pointed at the screen and I kind of whispered almost to myself, I want to do that. And my father, he sat next to me, and I'm 9 years old. He goes, "You want to be an astronaut?" And I went, "No, I want to make that." And I can truly tell you, from that moment at 9 years old to this present day, I have never wavered. I have never changed my thoughts on this. And I've never stopped working from that day. I started learning everything I could about film from that moment on. And by the time I was 11, I was making my first animated movies on Super 8. So I was voracious about like, no, that's what my life is about. That's what my purpose is. So much so, I was 10 when I decided I'm going to go to NYU film school.
Oh, wow.
And my family was like, it's college. You've got 8 years. Cut it out. And I'm like, nope, that's where I'm going. And that's where I went. And I got accepted to NYU as a junior in high school. I never had to apply anyplace else. Never had to do a damn thing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because that was it for me. And look, I also, by the time I was 9 years old, actually, at that same year, I became best friends with a kid in class named Noel Cunningham. And Noel's dad, supposedly the hubbub was that Noel's dad had made a porn movie.
Oh, boy.
And so like everybody was like, ooh. And by the way, Sean Cunningham did start his career as a porn director. He discovered Marilyn Chambers, who went to my high school.
Okay.
And in fact, my buddy Noel had played, when he was a baby, played Marilyn Chambers' Love Baby from her porn movie. Yeah, yeah. The movie's called Together. It's there. The other thing, look, the town that I grew up in is a little town in the Northeast called Westport, Connecticut. It's about 40 miles outside of New York. So my father lived in New York. My mom lived in Connecticut. So I bounced back and forth between the two. But I spent most of my time in Connecticut. And literally up the street, Paul Newman lived there.
Oh, wow.
And I did play readings with like remarkable Broadway actors all the time. And Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown went to high school in my same high school, and Michael Douglas went to school there. Linda Blair went to school there. I mean, it was like it was a cavalcade of I mean, I used to sing at Martha Stewart's house on Christmas. Like I would be brought in to sing there. So it was that kind of environment. The public high school, the local high school, was built around an existing theater. So there was a theater where Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and Janis Joplin had all played to sold out audiences. And then they built the high school around that place, right?
Wow.
Our theater company paid for the football team. We paid for all the sports. So unlike, most American schools, this was like
football, that's what they do. They usually go for football. Yep.
Exactly. And by the way, we had our football team was what it was, but I got to tell you, like we paid for all the athletic programs because we were making over $100,000 a year doing theater.
Wow. And
it's a public high school. It wasn't some special. No, it was special because the arts had this kind of grounding in it, which, look, please, one of my biggest causes in my life is getting all public schools to embrace the arts, because your kids are smarter when they're in the arts. Yep. Your kids do better. Look, a kid who plays an instrument, way better at math, way better at science, always. Yep. There's a direct correlation between those things. If you want your kids to be great in English, get them in a theater program. They will become avid readers. They will get more interested. And honestly, the arts make people more empathetic, which is always better. So, so I was blessed in that I got that. My best friend was this kid, Noel Cunningham. I heard his dad made movies, and then I heard he made a horror movie, and everybody had heard about Last House on the Left. Like that was like this very kind of taboo thing you weren't allowed to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I just started hanging out at the Cunningham's house 24/7. Like I was never home. I was just at their house. Mm-hmm. And I followed Sean around like a puppy dog. I was on the first set of the first Friday the 13th.
Nice.
I got to learn how to write a screenplay from Sean when I was 11 years old.
Really?
So, yeah. So, there have been a couple times in my life when people have been like, you're a Nepo baby. I'm like, no, I'm not. What are you, nuts? Like, I was just a kid that went, ooh, I want that guy to be my creative father. Mm-hmm. So I went for that I wasn't born from that guy. Like he didn't give me a job because I was his
Yeah,
son.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Well,
So yeah.
just letting everyone know, Sean Cunningham is the director from the first Final the 13th. Just in case
Yeah.
people are listening to this and they're like, "Who is Cunningham?"
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, 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 not at all. The director and producer of that film, actually.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, like the thing that I learned more from Sean in the intervening years was really about production, not really about direction.
Okay.
Sean's a director, but there's literally he has no style, and he'll tell you that. Like I'm not saying something out of school. He
Yeah.
will literally say, "I don't understand style. I don't get that." And I'm like, well, you're a director. How do you not have a style? What are you talking about? He thinks style is for film school idiots, as he says.
Okay. Okay.
Right, right. So,
Gotcha.
so anyway, I worked with Sean. By the time I was 13, I was apprentice editing for his wife, Susan Cunningham, on a movie called Spring Break, which, by the way, you can find it. I think it's on Tubi. It is 90 minutes of wall to wall boobs. That's it. The whole movie is just boobs. Which for a 13-year-old boy, I always say, like, I went into the editing room, a boy came out a man.
It's like
Um,
the best movie
like,
ever to edit, huh?
there's no better job. When you're 13 and all you're looking at is boobs all day long, you're like, okay, did I die and go to heaven? What is this?
Fuck yeah, I want to do movies.
Right? So I worked on that at 13, and when by the time I was 15, I started my first of two theater companies,
Okay.
and those two theater companies actually paid for me to go to NYU. That's how I raised the money to go to NYU.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I left NYU debt free. I did not have $1 owed
Right.
against my name,
That's
and it's the
you've
most
won right
expensive
there.
school in North America. So, you know,
You've won right there, Adam. Now,
yeah.
like I was gonna ask, like you had to feel like, I don't know, with so much opportunity for, drama and acting and
Mhm.
Broadway, you did you ever dabble in that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean by the time look from 15
Hmm.
to 21, I had done over 70 productions either as a director, choreographer, or actor.
Gotcha.
So I was constantly working. And look, my brother Kip, who's in Jason Goes to Hell, Kip was already he had been on Broadway when we were kids in the revival of Oliver on Broadway, and then um, he ended up in the TV series The New Leave It to Beaver, playing the old Beaver's son, Kip Cleaver. So like
Funny.
he flew to LA during high school. I saw my brother, 3, 4 months a year because he was in LA shooting a TV show.
Hmm.
So there was, I mean, we were so enmeshed in it. And it was funny because my brother always, when he would come home for the 3 months or 4 months he'd be, in Westport, he'd be like, "Oh, I hate that show that I'm on. I just want to be here doing theater." And once he finished the show, him and I did theater all the time, and it's why he ended up in Jason Goes to Hell.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was. No, look, the theater is where I think every filmmaker should start if you want to be a director or a writer for that matter, because you get a better ear for dialogue. And
Okay.
as a director, you understand how to work with actors. And look, I know in the age of Michael Bay that we went into and never seemed to have turned out of, people think directing is a beautiful shot. That's bullshit.
Hmm.
Beautiful shots are part of what the director does, and usually you do it because you hired the best cinematographer that
Yeah.
can realize your vision, right? They're the one's going to light your movie. You're not lighting anything.
Hmm.
You can ask for what you want, I've many times said I want a lens flare. Get me a lens, like figure out how I'm getting a lens flare. And I want to add it in post. I want it to be natural. You can do things like that, but there's a disrespect shown to cinematographers about how important they are to the image. They are the image.
Yeah.
You can guide it. You're the one framing it. You're the one, choreographing how that camera's going to move.
At the end of the day, it's them.
100% it's them.
Yeah.
And so as a director, your job is to tell the story from script to actor. So the actors are actually your paints that you're painting with. Their voices are what is going to illuminate your story. And I find that there are so few. Look, again, I went to the best film directing college on planet Earth. They had 5 classes about lenses. 5. I took all of them. No, that's a lot. They had 1 class on working with the actor.
Oh,
1.
wow.
I'm like, why are you teaching a director this much about lenses and that little about working with actors? That's crazy. But
Yeah.
that's all film schools. It's
Why do you
all
think
this
that?
because I think tech is easy to teach. I think it's easy to give somebody a textbook and say, okay, what f-stop is this? If this is the focal length that you got to be like, I get where they're going
Mhm.
because it's all in text. With acting, it's just trial and error. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that there's a certain disrespect for that. Whenever I meet young directors, the first thing as I say to them is get in an acting class. You don't have to be a good actor. Directors don't have to be good actors. They have to understand actors and be able to speak that language. And they also have to get their ass on stage and perform. Because here's the thing, even if you suck at it,
Hmm.
there's a humility that's built that you realize how hard the job of an actor really is. A really good actor has, by the way, a good actor has worked their ass off to get where they are now. When they are acting for you in a movie, it should not be hard. It should be fun. It should be this like incredibly exploratory, wonderful, artistic thing that they get off on, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the easy part. I hate when people go like, well, now you're doing the work. Bullshit. Now you're having the fun.
Yeah.
Now's the fun. The work is all the crap you went through to get this job, to get here in front of a camera. So I feel like the best directors classically are really good actors, or at least have really good actor brains, so
Mhm.
that you can communicate. Look, you know how many directors I've watched give line readings? There's nothing more insulting to an actor than a director saying, say the line like this. Don't ever do that to an actor.
Mm.
The only line readings I've ever given in my life have been when the actors come to me and say, "Give me a line reading. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to say the line." And then you can then that's a different story. And even then I'll say, "Okay, instead of me giving you a line reading, the operative word in this sentence is there." Like the word there is your word. And they're like, oh, I got. So they know how to land on the word there. They
And then,
get it done.
gotcha.
Right. So, but that's only because I look, I had a mentor from the time I was 11 till he passed, only a few years ago. A guy named Albert Pia, who was an incredible Broadway director. He'd actually directed in England as well. He's just a brilliant, brilliant guy. And at 11 years old, I came to him and I said, I want to work. I want to work in your theater. And I was 11, and he was like, okay. And he handed me a copy of Stanislavski's An Actor Prepares. And this is some heavy text. Like this is really like,
11-year-old. Yeah.
right. And it's the stereo instructions of acting. And he sends me home. He says, read the first chapter, come back tomorrow. So I did. And I came back, I'd read the chapter, and he said, what did you learn? I said, I have no idea. And he said, good, good. Honesty is what I want.
Mhm.
And he sat down, he cracked open the book with me, and he went through every page of it with me
Oh, wow.
until I understood every word in that chapter. And then he handed it back to me. He goes, go home, read the next chapter. I'll see you tomorrow. And we did that all summer. My entire summer of my 11th year on this planet, this
Wow.
guy did that with me until I understood chapter and verse, everything in that book. And then he said, great, I'm going to put you in the lighting booth. And I started working lighting at that point because he's like, you need to understand acting before I let you light actors. So that's where I got my respect for acting. That man is the reason I got to NYU when I was a junior. He's the one who invited the admittance committee to a play that I did when I was a junior in high school.
Mhm.
And he was part of my family. He's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow.
I've been very lucky to have teachers like that, though.
That's awesome. I feel like nowadays you wouldn't get that type of, yeah, it's very hard to
It
find.
is. You're not wrong. It is hard. I will say this. I don't know how many people seek it out because it didn't just land on my doorstep. Like I went to him at 11 and said, I want this. And he was shocked that I
Mhm.
did. So I think most people just think somehow it's going to magically show up at their doorstep. Nothing shows up at your doorstep. Like nobody cares about you unless you show them that there's a reason to care.
Absolutely.
You know, and look, there's a way to do it that's obnoxious, which I'm sure I tripped into many times. But there's also a way to do things where you're saying, I have a real enthusiasm for this. I want to do this. How do I do it? The
Hmm.
worst thing someone can say to you is, I don't have time. Sorry. Okay, great. By the way, if that person says that to you, they weren't the person you were supposed to work with in the first place. You
Absolutely.
have to find somebody that's inspired by your genuine need of knowing all this stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do like that you kind of came from the bottom learning.
Yep.
It's almost like, when like a in my field of work, like a general manager or something,
Hmm.
they've gone through the steps to get where we were and then exceeded. So now you understand, instead of someone that's coming in, they hire a general manager that never did any like just say like a janitor and that
Sure.
moved their way up, right?
Right.
Like they will never understand because they were never in those person's shoes.
Absolutely.
So I like that, and it's awesome. And it works out for you too. I think just overall, as a director,
Hmm.
knowing about lighting, about the gaffer,
Oh,
about
you
the
have to know about all of it.
you have
You have
to.
to know it all. Yeah. As a director, you need to know everybody. Look, even on Jason Goes to Hell, I demanded. It's amazing. I was 23 at the time, and I'm demanding stuff, but I did. I demanded that no one be hired on the movie without me meeting them first, and that everyone. I didn't care whether it was a PA or a set builder or a lighting guy. I did not care. Everybody had to read the script, and then we would sit and talk. We just have a talk because here's the thing: most people come to work on a movie in the industry. They
Mhm.
come because it's a job. They want the money.
Yeah,
Good, as you should. It is a job, but it's still an art form. And for me, on a film that I'm making, if you don't like the script, if you don't like the genre, if you don't, I don't care if you're the caterer. No, I'm not hiring that person because here's the problem. I need everybody in the set to be excited to be doing what we're doing.
absolutely.
I hate boredom on set. Oh my God, it kills my soul when I see somebody like sitting around. I'm like, oh, stop. And by the way, like every set I've ever run is a party. Like we're having a great time, but we're working our asses off.
Absolutely.
And so that only happens if people are inspired. Now, if they don't like the material they're working on, they're not inspired. They're never going to be inspired.
Mhm. No,
You know?
I mean that makes perfect sense. That
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Now I do have some questions
Please.
about film, your style,
Hmm.
and just kind of the basis. Now,
Sure.
can you walk me through your approach to storyboarding or shot planning?
Okay. Sure.
Let's do it, man.
So on Jason Goes to Hell, there were only a few sequences that I storyboarded, mostly because we couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford much more.
Okay.
I do a lot of my own storyboarding because I'm a physical artist as well, so I do a lot of that. But when it comes to like when you're in production,
Mhm.
you don't have time to sit and draw your whole movie out. It's impossible. And I had an incredible guy named Jeffrey Lynch, who was one of the directors of The Simpsons,
Okay.
who came and did my storyboards. Like they were really amazing, and it was wild to see Jason as Homer. I'm kidding. Um, but he drew the melting man sequence.
Nice. That's a cool
He
scene.
drew the end of the movie. The entire third act was drawn, not the fight, but the going to hell, all of that stuff, Earth opening up and the heavens and all that. So all of that stuff was drawn for me, and the opening of the film, parts of it were drawn, but not all of it.
Okay.
I love storyboards. Like I love them. I think they're incredibly helpful, especially when you're showing other crew members. This is kind of what I'm going for.
What are we going for?
Here's the thing, though. I know a lot of directors who get married to their storyboards. That's dangerous as fuck. Like there's nothing more dangerous than that. Don't get married to them. You have a general feeling of what you want to shoot always. And
Okay.
I have extensive shot lists for everything I do.
Mhm.
That said, I never tell actors when I put actors on set before we shot a minute of film. I get all the actors on stage and we roll the scene. We just run the scene
Mhm.
and I just watch them. I don't give them any direction. They might say, "Oh, come in that door." That's fine, but I give them no direction. I just go, "Do the scene. You've read the text. You know what that is. You own it. It's your character, not mine. Show me what you got." And 9 times out of 10, the actors have come up with more interesting shit than I could ever give them.
Okay.
And a director limits themselves if they're so busy directing and not busy listening and watching. What you hire these other artists, I don't care whether it's your DP or it's the third lead from the left.
Mhm.
The all those people you've hired because they're really good at what they do. They're experts. Okay. You want people to treat you as though you're an expert, but so many directors don't treat anybody else like they're an expert. It
Uh,
doesn't make any sense to me.
that sucks.
Right. And so for me, I want to give everybody their opportunity to shine and to be amazing. And so 9 times out of 10, they will show me a better way to shoot the scene than I could ever have imagined. And I will tell you, the person who taught me that, there are two people who taught me that. Steven Spielberg, who never blocks a scene before he gets on set. Never. Doesn't do it. Because he doesn't know what all of those elements are going to do when they're right in front of him.
Yep.
The other person who taught me this, and it was amazing because she was a big fan of Jason Goes to Hell, which is hilarious to me, was Penny Marshall, Laverne of Laverne and Shirley,
Wow.
who was a brilliant director, directed Big, A League of Their Own. I mean, she made incredible movies,
Mhm.
and she taught me like I never Adam, I never get on set with a plan. I like show me what you're gonna do, and she's right. She's 100% right. You know, it's you see instantly what your scene is the minute those actors hit the ground. Now, I will say this: I do a lot of rehearsal on any
Okay.
movie I've made. I rehearse the hell out of my actors.
Okay, because that was one of my questions. Do you prefer rehearsing heavily before shooting or capturing the most spontaneous performances on set? But you already answered that, so okay.
No, I want full rehearsal, and I'll tell you this: the one thing I will tell actors if like there's a crying scene or a really emotional thing, sometimes I'll say, "Hold that. You don't have to show me that yet. Like, let's run the lines. Let's work on the where the ideas of where we're going to block you and what we're going to do." But I want them to feel emotionally safe, and I want them to save their best thing for the camera. Right.
Absolutely.
That said, most actors want to bring the emotion every time and they're not going to run out of it. Like they want to do it.
Yeah.
So I've had actors, have full crying fits and, in rehearsal, and it's great. It's
Uh-huh.
great. And then I get to set and they do the exact same thing. Done. Because that's the job. That's their job. That's their genius. Right.
Yeah.
Um, I will say there are, there's a moment in Jason Goes to Hell where Allison Smith, who plays Vicky in the movie, and she's incredible actress. She was actually when I was 12, I think. Yeah, when I was 12 years old, I saw Annie on Broadway, and she was the second Annie on Broadway.
Oh
She
wow.
was Annie. And then she did a ton of television stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then I met her for Jason Goes to Hell and it was like instantly hired her. Well, Allison, when she came into audition for me, she had gauze wrapped around her arm. Like her whole arm was gauzed up, bandaged up. And I was like, what happened? And she goes, well, I was cleaning a wine glass in my apartment and it broke while my hand was inside of it, cut my wrist. She's like, I didn't cut my wrists. It cut. I was like, I know. You didn't try to kill yourself. I got it. But she had to be, she almost died. I mean, it was a life-threatening injury. So when we were shooting her death scene, when she gets impaled on the barbecue spike, and then he grabs her head and he's squishing her head, and the blood spills out of her mouth, right?
Yep.
And she says, "Go to hell." So when she says, "Go to hell," and he crushes her head, okay, she came unglued. When the blood came out of her mouth, she started crying hysterically, like it was unreal. Like the whole room was like, "Oh my God." And the moment I caught it on camera. That "Go to hell" is the only time I shot that. I shot that once.
Oh wow.
But she came apart and I yelled cut and I ran onto set And I pulled her away from everything and I held her and I was like, you okay? You okay? What's going on? And she's like, Adam, it's like I saw the blood out of my arm again. And she had this
Oh, so
total
she had like trauma.
PTSD moment.
Okay. Oh wow.
Right.
Shit.
So she got triggered by the effect. She just got triggered by it.
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing is I got this incredible moment on screen, right? It's there.
Mm-hmm.
But also because I love actors and because I'm an actor and because I have empathy for that, yes, I got it. And then I was like, we're done. I
Yeah,
got it. We're done. I don't need a safety. I don't need any of that bullshit. It's on camera. You're good to go.
that's good.
And to this day, she and I are still friends. And she says to me, she says, Adam, it's the only time I was ever on a set where I felt like a director had my back and that I was seen. And I'm like, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's sad, right? That's sad to hear from like an actor,
Yes, it
right?
is.
Just to have that, like that fact that the movie came out in 90 something, and that's what she says, like, which
Yep.
sucks, you know? Yeah.
Yep. Yep. It
Ah,
happens, dude. But that's the problem is people are
ah,
so busy. They're
trying to get
so
everything
busy
done.
making something and staying in their lane that they forget that our art form is people's emotions. You're working with actors. They're holding their emotions are all on their sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice mug. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
That is great. It's like a 3D version of your shirt there. That's awesome.
Threw you off.
That's great.
Let's talk about how involved are you in, you said it, well, you said earlier about casting, right? Like for
Mhm.
Jason Goes to Hell. How involved are you in casting decisions, and what are you looking for when you audition for actors?
I have a clause in every contract that I've had thus far
Okay.
that I have final say on any actor that's in the movie. That includes the movie stars. There's only one time that I hired an actor that I didn't have approval over because he was the 600-pound gorilla. Um, and it was the worst experience of my life, which was my movie Conspiracy with Val Kilmer,
Mhm.
who I don't give a fuck that he died of cancer. Like, everybody's got to stop. Just stop it. Actually, he didn't even die from cancer. He died from pneumonia because of the cancer he had. Um, Val Kilmer was a monster. He
Really?
was he was a sexual predator. He was an alcoholic and a drug addict,
Oh.
and I dealt with all of it. I
Oh.
dealt with all of it. And by the way, for anybody out there who thinks like, "Oh, I'm going to tell his family and they'll sue you," go right ahead. I've got 6 hours of behind the scenes footage of him doing everything that I just said,
Mhm.
and 30 people who'd witnessed everything I saw. He is the worst human being I ever worked with, and it's the only time that I didn't have approval on an actor, and I will never do it again.
So what happened in that situation where someone else hired? So it was like an outside source? How did that
Well,
work?
no, what happened was he read a script that we had written,
Okay.
and he flipped out over it, loved it. There was a production company that was working with him that wanted to do it.
Hmm.
They came to me and said, "We love your script. We want you to direct this. Val thinks you're awesome. He's seen your other work. He thinks you're fantastic. He wants to work with you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And suddenly we had the money to make a movie because Val Kilmer was going to be the star of it. So I'm like, I guess I'm going to make a Val Kilmer movie. Cool. Which again, you see that as like winning the lottery
And then sometimes it,
until you're on set. And I got to tell you, this happens over and over again to directors. And look, yes, there is a certain amount of you have to do what you got to do in order to work with people. Like, you got to
uh-huh.
do it.
Yeah.
There's bad behavior. I've dealt with actors with bad behavior. That happens, and a lot of times that's because they've been treated like shit in the industry, and they're kind of getting back a little bit.
Okay.
Val was a prep school bully from the day he was born. He was a bully. I know people who went to high school with him,
Hmm.
who, when I would say, "Hey, Val says hi," the response would be, "Yeah, go tell him to go fuck himself." So this is a bad man. This is a bad man. And I got to tell you something. It's one of those things where I go, we there are so many people who have been, you know, dealt with because of misconduct on set, especially sexual misconduct on set. I watched this guy harass people and like stopped him from harassing people and would remove him from set and then have another actor come in and work opposite an actor for their close-ups. I saw him bully people to such a degree. He had my lead actress on that movie crying every single day on set, every day.
Oof.
And this no, and I got to tell you, they make a documentary. His son makes a documentary. His son's a good guy. His son makes a documentary that is this like puff piece about his father, and then the guy dies, and everybody walks around canonized. Oh, he's one of the best actors of his generation. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. He's a great craftsman. He's not a good actor. Great actors show respect to their other actors. That's not this guy. He didn't do that. I don't care how he acted with Tom Cruise. I don't care. Tom Cruise could fire him any day of the week he wanted to. So, of course, he was nice to Tom Cruise. Of course he was. But anybody who wasn't as big as him, forget about it. He just didn't give a shit.
So do you get that where you have these actors that maybe do smaller films or
Mhm.
low budget films and they come on set like they're God's gift to the world?
Yes, but and here's the thing. Well, no, that's a complicated question because look, the movie that he did with me, Conspiracy, was a decent budget. We had a decent amount of money to make the movie, and it was a Sony picture. We were making it for Sony, and it wasn't Sony's fault at all. It was what's called a negative pickup. So the producer ostensibly becomes the studio, and then the studio buys the movie from the producer. Okay,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
still the studio's movie, right? So what happens is, okay, let's say you're making like, have you seen the movie Freaky Tales?
Yes, of course.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
an amazing movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's easily my favorite movie this year. I love that film. Okay, Pedro Pascal shows up to that set, or Ben Mendelsohn shows up to that
Okay.
set. They're there because they love the material. They're intrigued by the director. They're excited about what's being made.
Okay.
I will guarantee you those actors were a dream to work with on that movie. I bet they were the easy. And by the way, I know they were because one of my actors, because I teach acting in LA and I have a troupe of 60 actors that I work with every week. One of my actors is in that movie. And he said to me, he's like, these guys couldn't have been cooler. Well, yeah, because they're taking less money because they believe in the movie.
Work. That's big.
Right. So when actors usually when actors who are big actors do a smaller movie, they're doing it out of love. They're not doing it out of, not for financial reasons, that's for sure. They're doing it artistically. If you're an actor doing things that are artistic choices, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the nicest person to work with. You're going to be easy, right? The other people who tend to be easy are television actors. Because what's great about TV actors, and again, now everybody's on TV, but I'm saying, the old
Back in the
school,
day, there was a
yes,
separation, right? Of
yes,
movie
yep,
actors and TV actors. Yes.
absolutely. When you would get a television actor on your set, it was a blessing
Why is it different?
because, well, because they know that this is a job because they come to work every single day of the year working on a TV series.
I get you with it.
And they're like, there's no time to fuck around. Look, there are, on television, you get, and again, this is back in the day, but because you're making stuff so quickly, because you got, at most 7 days to shoot an hour's television episode, right? You're shooting so many pages a day to get that done. You shoot like 9 pages a day most days. That's insane. That's an unbelievable number of pages, right?
Uh-huh.
You only get 2 takes. At most, you get 2 takes.
Oh,
Right.
geez.
So when they get to your set on a movie, and most movie actors are like, oh, I get like 6, 7 takes.
I'm
No,
good. I'm good.
no. You hire TV actors, they get it done in 2 takes. And you're like, moving on, next shot. And that makes the world so much better, so much easier. Yeah, I had on the same movie on Conspiracy, I had Gary Cole,
Mhm.
um, and I had Jennifer Esposito, both of which were television actors. They both did movies. They both did theater. And Gary, he's one of the heads of the Steppenwolf company in Chicago. These are creme de la creme actors. I never had to fuck around with them. Never. The first time Gary did the very first scene that Gary shot, weirdly, we shot in Val Kilmer's house in Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? He
Okay.
wanted to use his house. I'm like, okay, well, use your house. Um, so Gary is on set, and it's a scene. It's like one of the last scenes in the movie. He plays the villain, which is ironic because he was the
Right?
sweetest guy on set, and the hero was a prick.
Yeah.
Um, so 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 Gary comes on the set and he does this big, monologue, this evil sort of thing, and he slaps Jennifer Esposito, and it's like this big, bad guy moment. and he plays the scene like he said, you got anything for me, boss? He was called me boss, and I'm like, no, just do your thing. Like, let me see what you got. Let me see what you want to do. And Gary knew that I had fought for him in this movie because nobody thought he could play a villain because they all thought him as a comedy guy. And I'm like, do any of you understand his first two series, Midnight Caller and American Gothic? In American Gothic, he played the devil,
Yeah.
but you don't think he can do evil. Like, oh my God, people are so stupid. So, by the way, also, he's an actor. He can do anything.
Yeah.
We're good.
Don't put him in one thing.
Exactly. By the way, that's how I live my life. Never put me in one thing. So Gary comes to set. He asks, anything from me, boss? I said, no, man. Let me just see what you got. He runs the scene. I'm shooting the scene. He runs the scene, and he does it beautifully. It was a terrific piece of work. But it wasn't what I wanted yet. And I walked over to him. He says, so any notes, boss? I said, I got one, just one. I said, because that was great. I said, on this next one, just throw it all away. Just throw it away. And he looked at me. He was like, yeah, we're going to get along. I was like, okay. And the second time he did it, it's what's in the movie. It's the second take. Because he suddenly realized I didn't hire him to play the bad guy. I hired him to be Gary Cole thinking that who he is in this movie is the good guy. But he's just fucking evil.
Yeah.
But he thinks he's the good guy. And suddenly I got this performance out of Gary that was terrifying. He scared the shit out of Jennifer Esposito. She was like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, that's why I hired this dude. Like, I know who he is. I got it. Yeah.
Nice.
So no, casting your movie is everything. It like when you're doing real estate, it's location, location, location. For movies, it's casting, casting, casting. You have the right cast in front of your camera, the movie cannot fail. It can't.
Very nice. Nice. Now how do you and I skipped the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Sure.
How do you so it might be all over the place. So
That's
how do
okay.
you translate the written word into a visual language? Do you start with mood boards, shot lists, or emotional beats?
Okay. I God, without exception, I've either written or been a major part of the writing process on every film that I've directed.
Okay.
Okay. So when I'm writing, and if you ever read anything I write like a director. So I write all of those emotional beats into the script. I write everything in there.
Okay.
I'm very visual storyteller, so I write things in a visual way, but I write it very condensed.
Okay.
My scripts read quick. Like my stuff is very fast reading. Um, and that's so I've already started the visual side of it, even in just the writing.
You're just right. I got you.
Right.
Okay.
I will tell you, like at this point, like there's a movie that I'm directing next year called Cry Havoc, and it's a cool movie. It's about America after a second Civil War, so it's a few years in the future. And one of the chemical weapons that's been used on the populace has created this mutation, and there are these creatures that are kind of living in the darkness and at war with us. And so the writing of that, I was offered that movie from another company. They
Okay.
brought it to Skeleton Crew, asked if our company would join them in production. And I read the script, and it just wasn't working. Like it was just rough. And again, it was first time writers, and that's how that works. So I said, look, I'll do it, but I got to rewrite it.
Mhm.
Like I can't do the script as it is. So I got to sit down. I got to kind of do what I do with this. And I also want to reduce it. It was too big, and I was like, you got to make it about one character and centralize it and give us a hero to root for. And so now it's like Snake Plissken versus werewolves after a second Civil War,
That's
right?
what I'm
So
talking about.
there you go. So it's really a badass movie. And by the way, the guys who wrote the original script love the rewrite, and I kept them on the script. Their names are there. They're all getting into the Writers Guild because of it. Like everything's positive. But again, I couldn't see the movie that they had written because they hadn't written it as directors. They wrote it as writers.
I got what you're saying.
And now it's a blueprint of here's how to turn this into a visual thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, let's see. How early in the process do you start thinking about tone, pacing, and atmosphere?
the minute I put pen to page. The minute
Nice.
I do. Look, I honestly, I think every single movie I've made has started with tone.
Okay.
So when let's say Secret Santa, which by the way, Secret Santa, it's the last film I directed. I produced a couple movies since then, but it's the last movie I directed. Um, that movie,
Is wild, by the way.
thank you. Thanks, man. It's actually my favorite movie of all my work, and I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One, it was 100% independent. So we financed the movie, our company financed the movie, we did everything ourselves. No one told me no about anything. Like,
Nah.
just didn't happen. Even my producing partner a couple times came up and was like, well, do you think we should go that far? I'm like, fuck yes, I do. And I'd take some convincing, but then he'd be like, yeah, you're right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
So no one said no, which was amazing. I will tell you that movie from page to camera to edit we only cut one half of one page in the entire script. That's it. That is literally the screenplay as it was written. And
Oh,
it is
that's awesome.
shot for shot the way it was written.
That's awesome.
So that's amazing. The other thing is I made the movie I made the movie for $30,000.
Wow. Well, good for you, man.
Thank you.
You're like,
And
that's
most everybody who sees it is like, oh, did you have like $1 million on this? I'm like, yeah, okay. I had $1 million, sure. You can't buy a used car for what I made this fucking movie for. And that was so exciting to me because we have three divisions of my company, Skeleton Crew. So there's the high budget division, there's television, and then there's the where the fuck did Roger Corman go division, which is like it's the division of the company that we're always trying to find new voices and go, look, you get to make your movie.
Mhm.
You're gonna have no money. We're gonna give you like a ball of twine and a sandwich, but you get to make your movie. And I feel like that's gone away. I feel like that. Look, I think A24 probably comes the closest to doing
They're
that. But
getting
again,
there, yeah, but they have their
right. But A24 makes movies for, 5, 10, $50 million now. So, what A24 started as is a
when
little
they
more
started
what
in the
we're doing.
beginning. Now it's because it's
Yes.
people got their eyes on it.
Yeah.
A24 now it's kind of
Yeah.
grown since
Yeah.
then. I agree. Yeah.
To me, I am all about like the scrappiness of independent filmmaking. And look, part of that, especially in this day and age of streaming, on Secret Santa, I did not take a salary. I've never gotten paid for that movie. Never made a dime, not a dime, because that wasn't what it was about for me.
Mhm.
Like that movie was about, no, I want to tell this story. And my actors all deferred their salaries. They got paid later. Like everything is about like, no, we come together and do. And by the way, all my films are union. They're all SAG. They're all Writers Guild. I do everything above board and on the up and up. But there's a point when you go, look, the number of times I've seen an actor take a play in LA, right? And they will work for 10 weeks on that play for free. And then they do, 20 performances for free because they want to be actors. They want to work, right? So you do theater, you never make money at. It just doesn't happen. If you're on Broadway, you make a little bit of money, but not much. When it comes to film, everybody becomes very mercenary. And it's like, well, I got to get paid. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. Then you're not going to make this movie with me
Yeah.
because I'm not getting paid. No one's getting paid.
Yeah.
So I understand if I was getting paid, you have to be paid. Like there's no two ways around it. But if you're making ultra low budget movies, you go, okay, do you want to make the movie?
Or do you want to, yeah, or make
Or right. It's like you can have you can have a great, Netflix weekend at home, or you can actually come to set and we can make something. We can actually build something
like
together.
what page are we on? Like, are you on our page or are you on your own? And
There you go.
that
And
makes
by the way, I totally respect someone who's like, I don't work if I'm not paid. Cool. I respect it. I do. I can't disrespect that choice, but it's a choice.
and this you're not gonna be on this film, but
Right. I might work with you on something else where everybody's getting paid for. That's fantastic. But there has to be this sense of if we're all gonna throw in, and then we're gonna throw in, then this is what we're doing. So Secret Santa was that for me. I will tell you the day. So So my partner had been to the American Film Market, AFM, in Santa Monica. And he called me from AFM and he's like, dude, do we have a horror movie that we can make immediately for no money? And I was like, I don't know. Let me go look at the archives. So I went to look at scripts and stuff that we'd written because my writing partner and I have written about 100 scripts at this point. So I'm looking through stuff that we own because most of our stuff is owned by studios and stuff like that. So I look at our stuff and I didn't find anything that would really fit the bill that I could pull off. So I said, I don't got anything, but give me a few minutes. Let me come up with something. I think I can come up with something. He was like, okay. So this was on October 31st, 2015 is when this first started. And so I called one of my actors, a woman named Pat Destro, and she had a house on Big Bear Lake, right? Beautiful mansion on Big Bear Lake. And she had told me quite foolishly, anytime I wanted to shoot something there, I could shoot it.
That's it. It locked into your brain.
Right. So
Yep.
I called her up. I said, hey, Pat, is your house available for the first 2 weeks of January? And she was like, yeah. I said, remember when you said I could shoot something there? She's like, absolutely. I said, well, listen, I need the house and I need you because I'm writing a part for you. She was like, great, all in. I said, can you do me a favor? Go to the two houses either side of you because a lot of the houses on Big Bear Lake are for rent.
Okay.
I said, can you get me each one of the houses on either side of your house that are big houses? Can I get those to rent those two houses for the first 2 weeks and try to get me a good rate on that? She's like, no problem. I said, and can you talk to all your neighbors and ask if they'll keep their Christmas decorations up till Martin Luther King Day?
That's awesome.
She called me half an hour later. I got both houses for a steal. I mean, I paid so little. It was crazy. And the entire neighborhood was going to keep up their Christmas decoration. So now I've got my location for shooting. I've got where I'm going to house all my actors and all my crew. And I'm set decorated before I wrote one word.
You're good. Wow.
I then said, okay, let me call all the actors that I think I want for this thing. I called the 15 people that end up in the movie, called all of them, said, are you available? This. Everyone was available completely except for a guy named Curtis Fortier, who's a fantastic actor, great comic. And he said, well, I can give you the first week, but then I got a work thing and I can come back. I said, great, I'll kill you first.
There you go.
And he's the first one to die in the movie. So it was all dictated by what can I pull off? I started writing that script that night on Halloween night, which is always a good time to start writing a horror movie. And I got to tell you, I wrote that script with my wife in 20 days.
Wow.
20 days. That's it. We did 2 readings of it right before and right after Thanksgiving that year. By the second reading, script was locked. We did 1 month of pre-production, and then I shot the movie. So if you're keeping count, from the minute I started writing the script to the end of production, to having the movie in the can, was 10 weeks. That's it.
And for people's knowledge, what's a normal rate for that?
Well, a first draft, okay, so if you're Writers Guild, the first draft is 6 weeks at best. So six to 10 weeks is usually what you get, right? For the first draft. That's just for one version of the script. Most screenplays go through 5, 6, 7, 8 drafts. So you're talking to get a script done, it's easily a year of writing. Okay? Right. Pre-production is usually 6 months to 8 months at least. And then shooting, you can go from everywhere from, I shot Secret Santa in 11 days and 11 nights and 1 day.
Wow.
That was my schedule. And by the way, that's also counting the fact that there are 13 lead characters in the movie. There are 13 people on camera almost the entire movie. So I had to cover all of those people for every single scene. I had one night, the dinner table sequence, the Secret Santa sequence. That scene is 18 pages long. I shot it in one night. But that's because my actors knew their shit. They knew their words, they knew their motivations, they knew everything they were going to do. Before we hit that set, they were ready to rock. Oh, and by the way, there's over 200 stunts in that movie. My entire cast did all of those stunts minus one that I brought in a stunt person for. That's it.
Wow.
So they did a couple hundred stunts, and they learned all of it. We have a thing in my theater company called Fight Club,
Mhm.
and it's where my stunt coordinator, who's in Secret Santa, he's the chef, Freddie
Okay.
James. He's my stunt coordinator, has been for years. And Freddie and I run this Fight Club where truly we teach all my actors stage combat, but we also teach them how to take a fall, how to do all the stuff you need to do on set.
Okay.
We had rehearsed all of those set pieces before we got to set. So once they got there,
Okay,
they're
cool.
good to go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, everybody knew everything they were doing. Yeah,
Impressive, man. I have to say, that movie is definitely like definitely a holiday tradition now. Like I said,
thanks,
I saw it
man.
and I was just
Thank you.
like, it's pretty interesting. And the one thing about I think your films that's it's always that you can always get is the
Mhm.
practical effects are always amazing.
Always,
Always,
always.
it's dead on, and I love
Thank
it.
you.
You know,
Thank you.
that's
I
something I appreciate.
I will tell you, look, that comes from the fact that I started in effects. And
Mhm.
look, even as a teenager, I mean, I knew Tom Savini when I was 11,
Okay.
right? I knew him because of Friday the 13th. I'd been around the guy forever.
Mhm.
Um, I was a huge fan of Dick Smith. I got to meet Dick Smith when I was 13, and oh my God, I fangirled all over this guy. I mean, he signed like 10 autographs for me. It was insane. But I had a deep, deep love of makeup effects. That was really my jam. Um, and then I got to work with KNB and with Bob Kurtzman and Howard Berger, who are both magicians. Greg's awesome, but he was never like the art guy for me. He's more the business guy. But Bob Kurtzman is truly one of my best friends to this day. And we made Jace Goes to Hell 33 years ago now. So like Bob is my brother. And
He also
Bob did
did
Secret Santa.
Wishmaster, right? He did
He
Wishmaster.
sure did. He
Yep.
sure did. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. His second feature as director.
Yep.
So Bob and I, we kind of complete each other's, sentences. And the other thing is, look, there are times when digital is a godsend, and sometimes you have
I
to
get it.
have it, and especially an ultra low budget, because there's times you can't make the thing work on set, like you can't make it happen. That said, I'm working with a guy now, a guy named Declan Boyle, who lives in Ireland, and he does all of my my visual effects. He does all my digital stuff. So this guy did Evil Dead Rise, and he sent me his reel, which then showed the layers of when he would put an effect on there.
Okay.
Dude, he did so much stuff in that movie that I swore was practical. That I swore was practical,
Shit,
and it
is
was
that good,
digital.
huh? Damn.
He is that fucking good. This guy is such a. By the way, on Hearts of Darkness: The Making of the Final Friday, the new movie that we've got coming out in a month. Oh my God, in a month. Um, the he did the title sequence for the movie. I didn't know him. We had never met before. He
Mhm.
just sent me a title sequence.
Oh
He just sent
wow.
it to me. He was like, I'm so excited about what you're doing. I just made this, and you can use it or not use it, but if you want it, it's yours. And I was like, oh my God. And he sent me this sequence that is so badass. It's so good. It was totally wrong for the movie. Didn't work for the movie.
Well, fuck it, we're putting
But
it.
no, 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 no. I called
Uh,
him and I said, Declan, I love what you came up with.
mhm.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
But if you want to do the titles for this, we'd love to have you. Who's like, absolutely, what do you need? And so he did a second run of titles. It still didn't work, just tonally, like you were saying, the tone, right?
Mhm.
So finally I sat down, we kind of went through the tone of the piece, and then I sent him, I worked at a title house in New York when I was in college. One of the most famous title house place called Our Green River Associates. And so we did Predator, we did Silence of the Lambs, we did all the De Palma movies. I mean, it was that place. The Superman titles that fly at you, they won the Academy Award for that. They did the Predator Vision, they won the Academy Award for that. So I had come from that world, and so I sent him a bunch of titles, and I sent him the titles to Catch Me If You Can, the Steven
Okay.
Spielberg movie, which are done in a Saul Bass style, which is a very complicated thing to pull out. It's fully animated titles, right? And so I sent it to him just to give him the tone. This is just the tone we're looking for.
Yeah.
And he looked at them. He looked at them, and I'm on Zoom with him, and he goes, I like those Catch Me If You Can titles. I was like, yeah, me too. I'm not asking you to do that. He said, I kind of want to do that. I was like, okay. I said, I guess I'll see you in like 6 months. 10 days later, they were
Yeah.
done.
Wow.
And at that point, I said, Declan, what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, well, this. I mean, he says, mostly I'm known for, for effects, for VFX. And I was like, can you send me your reel? And he says, yeah, I'm just sorry. Like, most of it is Evil Dead Rise. Is that okay? I was like, better than okay.
Yeah.
Like, uh-huh. And he sent me this stuff. I've never in my life been so surprised by somebody. It knocked me out. And I will tell you, he is now the VFX artist for our company.
That's
He does
awesome.
everything for us.
I
He
love it.
just did Terrifier 2 and 3. Did a ton of stuff for them.
See, like stuff
So
like that where I feel like you appreciate it a lot more, and I'm glad they brought that back. That
yeah,
they were so honed in on practical effects because I feel like it does you lose kind of your sense in the movie when it's
you bet.
and I'm glad
Look,
I'm really glad that they brought that back.
you can watch right now. You can watch Star Wars, the original, 1977, Episode 4, A New Hope. Um, you can watch that movie today, and it feels like they made it a year ago.
Yeah.
You put on the Phantom Menace, and you go, "Yeah, this is made in the '90s when CGI sucked.
Yep.
That's when this was made."
When you have
Because
Yoda.
because no matter how far along the techno, right, right. By the way, what's funny though is when you watch Jurassic Park, boy, does that still hold up.
Geez, the
But it's an
CGI.
incredible mix.
Yep.
It's a mix because they
Yep.
use practical and CGI.
Yeah.
You know that they had a full T-Rex on set. Like they had the, I think, to help tell the story. One, two, in a way that they go, okay, there's only so much I can do. That's kind of where I come at it from this point of effects wise. That said, dude, if I'm chopping up people, no, we're chopping them up on set. Like that's happening.
And that's what I love. And let's talk a little bit about Jason Goes to Hell. I know
Yeah,
we won't go too much into detail because
sure.
your movie's coming out and I
Yeah.
get you. So let me know if you're like, hey, I'm not going to talk about it.
No, no, no.
Jason Goes to Hell gives you the chance to direct in your 20s, right? What was
Right.
it like stepping on set on such a legendary horror franchise so young, man? Like,
It was, here's the thing. I was too young or too stupid to know that I shouldn't have been there.
okay.
Like I didn't know. I just went, yeah, this is of course what I'm gonna do. Like this is my job. My brother Kip, who's interviewed in Hearts of Darkness, makes a very funny point, and it was very sweet when he said it. But he said, here's the thing, people say to me like, are you surprised that your brother was so young when you direct this movie? And Kip's like, no. He said it actually felt like an underachieving moment for Adam. You expected him to direct one of these movies at 17. So I didn't know any better, which by the way is what I hope for every artist out there. Like it's so easy to tell somebody they're too young, they're too inexperienced, they're too this, that, and the other thing. That's all bullshit. That's just bullshit.
Yeah.
My actors never thought I was too young.
Yeah.
My technicians never thought I was too young. We got along great, you know?
Mhm.
So either you're a professional, or you're not a professional. Because of the people, my mentors, because of the mentors I had my whole growing up, I was told 11 years old, you step into this theater, you're not an 11-year-old kid, you're a professional. You work with other professionals, and as long as you behave professional, you belong here.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
it.
I interviewed Clint Howard, and
Oh,
I mean he was since he was young, working, and he's like, you know what? I was maybe 10 years old, 9 years old, and guess what? I had actors that were 40 years old, 50 years old,
Right.
and we had the same job.
That's right.
It's
That's
crazy.
right.
Yep. So it's again,
There's
Clint.
no difference.
It
There's
is.
no difference.
You're
Yeah.
there to do a
I
job.
worked I worked for his brother Ron for a couple of years doing TV, and they are badasses.
Yeah.
They're
There.
badasses.
Yeah. Clint was awesome.
They're amazing. They're amazing human beings. Great artists and amazing human beings.
The film takes a big swing with the
Yeah.
mythological of Jason, right? Voorhees.
Yeah.
How did you approach balancing the studio expectations with your own creative vision? I know there's been a mess on that, right?
Sure.
Before you answer that question,
Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell. I remember
Yes.
watching it and
Hmm.
not liking it. I'm gonna be
Got it.
honest.
That's totally okay.
But watching it now,
Hmm.
it's like I get it. I'm like it's not that
Uh-huh.
it's not it's its own little thing. And you know what? There's a lot of shitty Friday the 13th. There's, the fourth one, the fifth one, it's a mess. This one isn't bad at all, to be honest. I'm like, you know what?
Thanks, dude.
It's actually really good. It's
Thanks.
it's its own little thing. Now there is some questionable moments, but
Sure.
hey, but
Sure.
it's a solid. I would watch it again compared to watching was the I think it's the fourth or fifth one where it's not in Jason. It's like the
Fifth. It's the fifth one. It's the
yeah
fifth
where
one. Yeah. Yeah.
people
A new
lost their
beginning.
shit. Yeah, that one.
Yep. Yep.
So I got to give it to you, man. So tell me about
Thanks, brother.
your whole situation with
Here's
the
the thing.
man.
When it comes to audience reaction, we were ahead of our time. That's the problem. The job I got offered right after Jason Goes to Hell
Okay.
was a movie called Scary Movie, which ended up being Scream.
Okay.
Um, and the reason they offered that to me was they saw Jason Goes to Hell and said, "Wow, this guy is commenting on the horror genre as he's making a horror movie, and he's not doing it in a snarky way. He's doing it in a way that tells me he loves these movies."
Mhm.
So they were like, "He's the perfect guy." Then, of course, I found out Wes Craven, who I'd known since I was a little boy, Uncle Wes, was going to do the movie. I was like, "Well, I'm not getting that job." Um, but God bless, because it's an amazing movie and Wes is a genius. Look, the thing about the mythology when I came in, first off, let's remember the movie before my movie was Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, another one.
Right.
Oh,
Right. Okay. So the series was done.
okay.
Paramount didn't want it anymore. They sold it to New Line. They were done. Sean Cunningham hated The Mask.
Yep.
He
I remember
hated that the movies were made about Jason. He didn't want to make movies about Jason. When he came back for Friday the 13th Part 2, the only way he was going to direct is if he got to tell a completely different story. He wanted to tell stories of the unluckiest day of the year. That was the idea. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Paramount said, "We want to make it about that guy Jason." He was like the kid in the lake, the one who died. What are you talking about? That's the movie they wanted to make. That's
Mhm.
why Sean didn't make those movies. The problem is Sean Cunningham is associated with those movies entirely. And it got to a point where a mask that he thought was quote unquote fucking stupid, because he thought the hockey mask was stupid.
Yep.
He's like, he's like, there's summer camp movies. Why is the guy in a fucking hockey mask? I mean, he didn't get any of it, right? Well, suddenly the only movies he could make were movies about a guy in a hockey mask.
You got stuck.
That's
Stuck
right.
with it, man.
That's right. So the Alexander Dumas novel, the Man in the Iron Mask. He became the man in the resin mask. So he was trapped in this thing. So when he gave me the job, he's like, "Look, you figure out a way to get that fucking hockey mask out of the movie. I'll let you write and direct it." Well, that was it. Like that was the job. That's the job I was given.
Mhm.
So now I'm a sneaky motherfucker. So I brought him back by the end of the movie with the mask. I'm like, I'm gonna get him back in there, because I'm a Friday 13th fan. Like I want my hockey mask. What are you fucking kidding me? So I wanted those elements, but I also wanted to upset the apple cart and to do something different. Because what the fuck, bro? By part 8, the guy, In part one, he's a little boy from 30
Yeah,
years ago.
and
By part two,
the stories were all over the place.
all
Like,
over the
yeah,
place.
yeah.
He
So,
fought Carrie in
yeah,
in part seven. I mean, it's like, what are we talking about, guy? I love when people are like, you're destroying the sanctity of
no,
Jason.
it was
What
been
sanctity,
destroyed.
you idiots?
It's been destroyed. I'm
It's
sorry.
nuts. And by the way, my favorite thing about part five, one, where did Roy get like a great makeup artist who could build that cowl for him? It's an amazing cowl. And two, he had a picture, he had a photograph from a newspaper article about Jason Voorhees. And you go, who the fuck took that picture? Like, did they just find his camera? He was dead, but there was the camera? I'm like,
It's just all
it's
over
like,
the place. It was all
right,
over the place.
right. So for me, by tying Evil Dead into my movie,
Yep.
I suddenly gave a reason for all the crazy shit.
Hmm.
Suddenly, everything was up for grabs because then I buy a little boy who's 11 and then turns into a full grown man.
Yeah.
Then I buy a guy who gets resurrected like Frankenstein's monster in part six, and fights Carrie, and then takes a boat ride to Montreal for some reason. Um,
Just the boat ride. It wasn't, and at the end was Manhattan. The
Dude,
last,
but it wasn't Manhattan. It was one shot in Manhattan. The rest of it's Montreal. I'm like, that ain't. By the way, from a guy who grew up in Manhattan, I'm like, that ain't
that
Manhattan.
ain't it. That ain't it.
It's like there's one shot of Times Square. The rest of
And
this
that's it.
is
Yeah.
bullshit. But look, I loved all these movies, and I saw Part Eight in a theater opening night. Like, I love these films. I did not make Jason Goes to Hell to in any way denigrate or say anything negative about the Friday the 13th franchise. I just didn't. My movie is, I consider it the Rogue One of the Friday the 13th franchise, which is I tell you why there's a hole in the Death Star that Luke Skywalker can shoot through and blow up the Death Star. I'm the guy who tells you why this character seems so all over the place, because if all you say is he was resurrected by the Necronomicon, you don't have to say he's a Deadite. People get so fucking stupid about that. If he's resurrected by evil magic, by Satan's magic, okay? If this guy is somehow hellfire, I buy everything now.
Short and simple and sweet, right?
Easy. You bet. You bet.
Um, and just so everyone knows, I mean, you did add the Book of the Dead in that scene because
Yes,
some
it
people
did.
are like, oh,
Yes, it did.
perfect, amazing. The body.
And the Kandarian dagger,
Yep,
which is what kills him.
yep, absolutely.
So the Evil Dead's in the movie, kids. Sorry. Like, I love when people are like, yeah, it was just a prop and he's making that up. I'm like, no, no,
I
no.
did it. This is a
No,
director, guys. This is a director.
I went
doing it.
I got on set of Army of Darkness with KNB because I was like, I need to meet Sam so I can ask him if I can have the Necronomicon and I'm in a Ziploc bag. So this wasn't an accident. I love when people behave like that. It's like, listen, don't tell me what was on my mind.
Exactly.
I know what I was doing.
Exactly. The body hopping element was controversy but unique.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from? Was
Yeah.
it again just to try to tell that story? And I liked how you snuck in, like you said, you snuck in Jason with like reflection, mirrors. It was cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Thanks. Thank you, man. Thank you. The body hopping comes from a very specific place. So people, a lot of people always say, it's a lot like The Hidden, which is great. I had not seen The Hidden when I wrote Jason Goes to Hell or directed it. I saw it afterwards and went, oh, fuck, this is a lot like my movie. What's amazing about that, though? You know who did see The Hidden? Every single person at New Line Cinema where I made Jason Goes to Hell. And not one person ever came to me and said, this is kind of like our movie, The Hidden. Not one.
That's
ever
wild.
happened.
That's wild.
For me, here's the problem I have with franchise movies in general.
Mhm.
Okay. The big horror franchises. The first two movies, let's say Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday 13th, and I think Friday 13th Part 2 is a masterpiece. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
These movies, the first two movies are usually nightmare fuel. They're terrifying.
Mhm.
And we are cheering for the heroes to survive. By Part 3, we're cheering for the villain. That's not a horror movie anymore, kids. Sorry, that's not a horror movie. That is a superhero movie with an evil superhero. That's all it is. It is a roller coaster ride. You hate the people in the movie. You're waiting for them to get killed. By the way, Terrifier, those are not horror movies, like at all. They are movies about a guy who mutilates women, and that's what they are. That's what they are. That's the movies. But you're excited about. You're like, how's he going to kill her next?
Yep.
Use the acid. That's not a horror movie. What's frightening about that?
Yeah.
So let's put it this way: no one ever rooted for the shark in Jaws.
That's true.
Okay. What I wanted with Jason Goes to Hell is I was like, I want to make a horror movie out of this. I want this to be a horror movie again. I want characters, I want lead characters that you love and that you're like, please don't let them die.
Mhm.
So, by using one of my favorite films of all time, The Thing, I went, okay, how much scarier is it if you don't know where Jason is? If now he's hiding in the person you trust the most, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Right. The other thing, and I'm sure I'm going to lose half your audience in about a second, is I have never drank alcohol or done drugs in my life. Never. I'm straight edge kid since I was 13, and you know my best friend who cut Hearts of Darkness. He's a 10-time nominated Emmy. He's 10 times nominated for the Emmy for The Amazing Race, for editing The Amazing Race. He was in straight edge bands when we were kids.
Cool.
And so everything for us was like we had the X's on our hands, like we were those kids, right? I have, I guess, a fear of loss of self. There's something terrifying about like I've had a couple friends die of ALS, right? Which is a horrible, horrible fucking disease.
Yeah.
What's horrible about it is your brain is completely with you. Like you're still there. It's just your body won't do anything it's supposed to do. But you're trapped inside of it. That's terrifying to me. So, and for me, part of the reason I never did drugs or drank was I never wanted to be out of control. I always wanted to be who I am, not what the drugs made me or what the alcohol made me. And by the way, I don't have a soapbox about alcohol or drugs. Everybody should do whatever the fuck. I am completely libertarian in that regard. Everybody should do whatever they want with their bodies. You do you. Of Jason being inside you, and you're still there.
Oh, and you're killing okay, I get what you're saying now. Ooh, man.
Yep. And the moment when Josh, Officer Josh, when he gets the Jason in him, and then when he expels it into Robert's mouth, and then he starts to melt, because the evil that's been inside of him is so acidic, it literally burns you out from the inside. And I thought, what a fucking nightmare that you've done all of this as Jason. Now he's left you, and now his evil is dissolving you from the inside. That to me is fucking scary. So
that's a hardcore scene right there too. Amazing.
There you go.
Amazing. Again,
Thank
one
you.
of those.
Thanks, man.
Whew. I mean, it's that one, and this is my next question, which is this film is known for some of the most brutal kills in the franchise. Which kill are you the most proud of? Now, everyone goes for the camp
Split girl.
Yeah,
it's the one. It's the one, dude. God. It's the one. It's on every list. Even people who hate Jason Goes to Hell, on every list, we're in the top 2 kills of all time. It's either the sleeping bag from Part 7 or the split girl from Part 9. Some people have thrown in Part X, the hydrogen face.
Yeah. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. I mean
right.
It just you see the whole thing. I'm like, gee, how was that done? I mean, that was amazing,
dude. It's an incredible piece of artistry. Bob Kurtzman and I designed the whole thing together. And when I wrote the death, New Line had told me go as over the top as you want because we're going to cut it from North America. We're going to cut most of that out.
Okay.
Because their evil plan, and it was genius, was that they were going to put out an unrated and a rated version.
That was one of the very first times, right?
It's the first time actually. And what's amazing about it is that Jason Goes to Hell was the largest selling VHS in all of New Line's history because of that.
Wow.
Because everybody usually bought one tape, had to buy 2.
Yep.
So they doubled their money everywhere. It was kind of extraordinary. Um, so the split girl is easily my favorite thing in the movie. But I will tell you, I do love my brother getting his head lopped off is pretty fucking great, and then the thing crawling out. And Rusty Schwimmer getting her
Oh,
mouth broken
yeah,
in.
just fucking.
Yeah. And what I love about that death is because her entire character's been about her mouth. Like she's just
Shut the
a
fuck up.
hothead.
Yeah.
Right. And by doing that, it's literally Jason going like, "Oh, I'll shut you up," you know. So there's, yeah, dude. Look, there's not a bad death in that movie. There just isn't.
It's,
Okay, I will tell you. I'll tell you a secret. This is a cool thing, and this isn't even in the doc.
oh, let's hear it.
Um, okay, so we had run out of money. Like I had no more money for effects. Like Sean Cunningham was not letting me have another dollar for money. Um, And so I had to do, I wanted to do this effect when Officer Josh meets his girlfriend, who's the wife of somebody else who he's cheating with, right, out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I really wanted this death where her head would get crushed by the car door, right? But I didn't have any money. So I went to Bob Kurtzman and I said, dude, you got any foam on the truck? Just some like rolled up foam, just, mattress foam, that kind of stuff. He's like, yeah, sure. I said, bring it to me. When the actress who came on set to play that part, she was my assistant casting director, Diana Georger, amazing actress and an incredible woman. I walked over to her. I said, listen, are you okay doing your part in a wig with like a scarf over your head? She's like, whatever you want. Like, they're great. I said, okay. I said, I'm really going to make you very like, Midwestern housefrau kind of thing. She's like, great. And I said, and you're in disguise because you don't want your husband to find out that you're fucking Andy. And, she was like, I'm in. I get it. Oh, okay. So I put her in the scarf. I put her in the wig. We did the thing. Then I go to do the gag. And everybody's like, how are you going to do this gag? Like, we don't have an effect for it. Like, we never built anything for it. I said, I got it. I take the foam and I roll it up. I put the wig over the back of it, put the scarf over the wig, and I put it in the doorway. And I said, roll camera. And I literally, I'm the one slamming the door.
Nice.
And that effect, every single screening, people scream their asses off. And I'm like, you're watching mattress foam get closed in a car door. That's all it is.
That's the magic, though, right? That's the magic. That's the beauty, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. That is
Yep.
cool, man.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
way
man.
cool. I have a couple more questions before I let
Sure.
you go, because
Sure. No worries.
um, now let me see. Let me get a good one over here because I have one that's kind of like, okay. So we have some fun questions for you, right?
Sure. Love it.
Before anything, the ending of the film, right? We have to
Yeah.
talk about it. I mean, it's one of the most iconic, like I said, iconic scenes ever, right?
Thank you, man.
Jason's mask, he got brought down to hell. All of a sudden, Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
Whose idea was that? How did that crossover idea come about? There you go.
Me.
So, with the
Um,
New Line Cinema already, because you already had, they already bought the property, right, for Jason at that
right.
time when you were
Right.
doing.
And they own Freddie outright. So what happened was I was in my apartment with my two roommates, which was Dean Laurie, who wrote the script with me, and Noel Cunningham, Sean Cunningham's son. We were living together. And so the three of us were all hanging out in our living room, and the two of them were getting stoned to the bejesus. I mean, they were so stoned. And so we're all giggling about bullshit, and we're laughing about all the stuff that I'm putting in the movie. We were in the middle of production, by the way.
Mhm.
And I said, we were trying to figure out like what cool shit I could put in there and how I could do. And I suddenly went, wait a minute, hang on. Didn't New Line just sent Freddy to hell in Freddy's Dead? Like that had just come out. I'm like, okay, so Freddy's dead. Well, who better to drag Jason to hell? Oh my God. And I called up my two executives, Mark Ordesky and Mike DeLuca at New Line. And it was middle of the night. I think they were asleep. And I was like, guys, like, what do you want? I was like, can I get Freddy's glove and Robert's laugh? And they were like, what do you want it for? Because again, New Line was the house that Freddy built.
Yep,
So
that's it. That was all.
sacrosanct,
Yep.
right? So I told them what I wanted the ending to be. Dude, they could not have given me that glove faster. It showed up the next day.
Wow.
They were like, that is genius. By the way, I had no idea they were doing Freddy versus Jason. We never talked about it. Never once talked
Really?
about it. Not one word about it. Nope.
Holy shit.
Nope.
Wow.
I only found in post production that Freddy versus Jason was happening because I went in to pitch Freddy versus Jason. And then when Wes came in and said he wanted to do New Nightmare, that was off the table. But I was the first person to pitch that movie.
So you technically kind of manifested that.
Yes, I did.
That is awesome. That's something
Yes, I
to be
did.
proud of.
Thank you,
Unfortunately, I
brother.
wish you would have directed it. That would have been really, really cool.
Here's the thing. The story that we had initially for Freddy versus Jason was so fun. It was such a good story. And look, the problem with Freddy versus Jason was that you had all of these giant egos around that movie. You had Sean Cunningham, you had Wes Craven, you had Bob Shea, you had all these people who had to sign off on everything. Well, dude, getting a bunch of egos to agree on one thing, you're never gonna. So I think that movie was plagued because of that,
Mhm.
and I think they just kept overthinking it when it really should be simple, 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 simple. It's a
Definitely.
wrestling movie, for fuck's sake. It's just a
Yeah.
wrestling movie. Let them wrestle. That's
Yeah.
it. You know, and so I think that's what happened to that movie. That said, look, there are people who love that movie and that find it charming and funny and scary, and it's awesome. Like I don't make any money if somebody doesn't like a movie.
Mhm.
So I never have an opinion unless I think a movie is like wrongheaded or there's something that I feel like, no, that
Oh,
people shouldn't fucking see that. I'm very much like, no, man, who gives a shit what I think of it? What do you think of it? Like, what's your opinion? Because that's all that actually matters. You gotta enjoy what you're enjoying, you
Mhm.
know? So, I feel like the only thing that I'm pissed off about Freddy versus Jason, and I will remain pissed off about it forever,
Mhm.
is that Kane Hodder was not Jason.
Yeah, they kind of screwed the pooch on that one, man. They
They
screwed.
completely did. They
Yeah,
completely did.
I
And
remember.
what really sucks is that Kane and Robert are good friends.
That's
And
the part that just never.
yeah, they never got to do that together, and I think that sucks. And Kane is like a brother to me. I love that guy, and he got fucked.
Yeah.
He just did. You
How
know,
was work? How was working with Kane?
the best, the fucking best, man.
He's
He's the
awesome.
best.
I met him.
He's an amazing guy. Look, he's genuine. He's very sweet. He loves all that, like, oh, I'll murder you. Oh, okay, Kane, you're not murdering anybody. He's a pussycat, and I will tell you, he's grumpy as fuck now. Because like we were doing a screening of Hearts of Darkness at Texas Frightmare. It was amazing. 900-person audience. It was insane. And the screening started at 9, and then we were doing Q&A afterwards. And Kane was like, oh, come on, man. I mean, why are we doing this so late? Can we do the Q&A before the movie? I said, sure. They'll ask questions about a movie they haven't seen yet, Kane. That's a great idea. I was like, listen, Grandpa, we're going to show the movie at 9. You're a big boy. We'll be up till midnight. Deal with it. And by the way, he loved it. He'd never seen the movie. He loved the movie. So he was totally lit up. At like midnight, he was like ready to go party. I'm like, okay, there we go.
Love the Kane Hodder. The
He's
breathing,
fucking awesome.
it's like
He's awesome.
he is Jason, man. He's Jason.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yep.
Okay, let's talk a little bit fun questions. We'll do it nice and quick and get
Cool.
you out of here, man.
Dig
All
it.
right. Favorite? No, that one I already did. Hardest scene to shoot.
Ooh. The hardest scene of shooting Jason Goes to Hell was the scene between my brother and John LeMay at the side of the cop car when they pull the guns on each other. We shot that scene 3 times. It kept falling flat. It was the craziest thing. Kept falling flat. I love the scene when we finally finished it. I love the scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But man, did I had to reshoot it 3 times. I'm telling you, I thought I was going to lose my job over it. And it's because both Kip and John took everything way too fucking seriously. And I'm like, guys, you're in the 9th Friday the 13th movie. Like, lighten the fuck up, you two. Like they were dueling Hamlets. They were driving me nuts, the two of them. They're both remarkable actors. They're absolutely incredible. But oh my God, they were killing me.
If you could only keep one character besides Jason, who would it be?
Oh, Creighton Duke. Huh. Huh. I'm writing with Stephen Williams. I'm writing a Creighton Duke standalone movie right now.
Oh, really?
Oh fuck yeah.
Cool.
Oh
Cool.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Favorite version of Jason from any film?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, my two favorites,
You can put yours.
my two favorite, my okay, my favorite movie in the franchise is Part Six. Okay,
Okay.
I am a Jason Lives guy. Tommy McLaughlin's a very close friend, and I love that film. And I always thought of Jason Goes to Hell as a sister film to that movie. Like those are kind of connected in my
Mhm.
mind.
CJ
Um,
Graham again played Jason, amazing guy.
Fantastic. Part two is just a fucking scary movie. That is just a great scary movie. There's no hockey mask. It's just a fucking guy in a sack. And look, they're completely ripping off, the town that dreaded sundown. Like that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. But you know what? It's just simply frightening. That said, come on. I mean, Kane Hodder, Jason Goes to Hell. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah. And look, the hockey mask being part of his head it's so much more interesting to me because look, I knew going in, I'm never going to show what's under the mask. Not doing it. Because I've always hated when they do because it looks fucking
So,
stupid. It
yeah.
just looks dumb.
Yeah.
I was one of those kids when uh, Return of the Jedi came out, right? And they unmasked Darth Vader, and we'd all been waiting for this. Oh my God, what's under that mask? And then it was
Little
like, oh,
guy.
look,
Yeah.
it's a purple cantaloupe. Like, there's nothing scary about that.
He
Like,
lost
don't
his
show.
military. Yeah.
The minute you show the face of fear, it's no longer scary.
I
So
agree.
that mask is Jason.
Yep.
And so by having his skin slough off around the fucking mask because he's been underwater for so long,
Mhm.
that's scary. Like, I'm sorry, that's just a fucking cool idea.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Agree. Which actor gave you the biggest laugh behind scenes?
Oh, easily Rusty Schwimmer. Easily.
Really?
Yeah, Rusty Schwimmer, Leslie Jordan, and Allison Smith were the funniest people on that set and the most entertaining people all the time. Now, I will say, Kane did a lot of practical jokes. So
Mhm.
Kane was always scaring the shit out of people. He had this ketchup squeeze bottle that had a red string that came out of it. So he'd hit you with it all the time.
Uh-huh.
He also would stand in the makeup. Because the dummy, we had these dummies that blew up when we blew up Jason. So we
Mhm.
had these dummies that looked just like Kane. So we had two of those, and then Kane sometimes would move one of the dummies and he would just stand there frozen, right? And someone come by and be like, ah, and people lost their shit. That said, Rusty Schwimmer, if I could work with her on every movie, I would. If I had a part for Rusty Schwimmer in every single film I do, I would have her there because she is the funniest human being I think I've ever known.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which was tougher, working with practical effects or dealing with the MPAA rules?
Oh, dude, MPAA much worse. God, much worse. No, I love practical effects all day long. And by the way, look, when you've got a guy like Bob Kurtzman on your set, practical effects do not take a long time. Like the problem with most practical is that it takes forever. Not the way Bob and I work. No way. No way. And I usually have something else shooting while we're setting up practical.
Okay,
So
so
I'm
it's
never
not wasting
waiting on
time.
it.
I got you.
Never waiting on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If
But
you
the
were
MPAA was the worst. Fuck them.
if you were stuck in Crystal Lake Woods, what would your survival strategy be?
Get the fuck out of Crystal Lake Woods. Um, Look, I if I were to make another Friday 13th movie, right? If I were to direct another Friday 13th movie, what I would do is and this would be a bit of retconning, I don't give a shit. I would I would get Creighton Duke and Tommy Jarvis and a platoon of badass mercenaries,
Mhm.
and they would hunt Jason Predator style in Crystal Lake Woods.
Nice.
And that would be the movie. Like it would be First Blood, but with Jason.
That's cool.
And just have him fucking go to town on adults, men and women. Get a group of badass, get someone who's like Laura Croft in there, just get a fucking platoon of really cool people and have them hunt Jason. So look, there's no way to survive Jason. You can't survive him. Like hell is coming for you. You can't escape that. That's not happening.
Was your original plan to have Tommy Jarvis, but again,
Sure was. We didn't own it. We didn't own it. Paramount only sold Jason Voorhees and the elements of the first film to New Line. We couldn't even use the
yeah,
title. We couldn't use the
yeah,
title
I
Friday the
heard
13th.
Friday the 13th was out. That's why I said the final Friday.
The original title on the script
Mhm.
was Friday 13th, The Heart of Darkness. That's
Makes
why
sense.
this is called Hearts of Darkness.
Makes sense.
That's why.
Light bulb. There you go. This light bulb just went. I'm like, oh shit, that's perfect. Yep. Interesting. Uh, one word fans should use to describe Jason Goes to Hell. Say masterpiece.
Nah. I mean, cult classic is two words. So, but I will also say, look, you know what? Unique.
Mhm.
Because that's what we were. Like we just didn't do the same old, same old. By the way, are all the elements of a traditional Friday 13th movie in that movie? Fuck yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Of course
yeah,
they are.
absolutely.
But it's saying, I honor what we've had. Now let me give you something else.
Yeah, something new.
That's it.
Would you rather direct another Friday the 13th or create a brand new original horror icon?
Okay. Here's the thing. Financially, directing a new Friday the 13th would be lovely. Okay.
Okay.
That's always good. But I have to tell you something. I personally wish they would put all of these creatures to bed. I think it's enough. I think we've beaten these things to death. Look, by the way, you want to know how starved the audience is? How starving they are? Terrifier does not have a plot. None of them have had a plot. Not one of them. They've never bothered to bring a plot to those movies. They are just a guy murdering people. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. You don't know where he came from. You don't know who he is. You just know he's just going to murder everybody.
Yep.
That's how starved the audience is. Like people are so desperate for something new that I just feel like our industry is so based on it has to be from a comic book. It has to be from a book. It has to be from a video game. It has to be from a movie that everybody knows. Stop. Like, how about give the audience some fucking credit and make things that are new and original and let them decide? What is wrong with everybody?
Yeah.
It's awful. It's awful. So would I rather make my own monster? Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Now, after all this,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it? Jason Goes to Hell, the legacy after 30 years. Now that it's become its own cult classic, it's gotten more appreciation now than it
Yeah.
did when you
Yeah.
first made it. How do you feel as a filmmaker and
I
such?
feel very proud of that movie, and there's never been a day when I didn't feel proud of it.
That's what's up. I love to hear that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Listen. Filmmakers need to make filmmakers have to stop thinking they're making movies for somebody else. You're not making movies for somebody else. If you don't make it for you, if you don't make it something that you go, I dig this, like I love this movie. If you love it, I guarantee you 20% of the population is going to be with you. By the way, if 20% of the population sees your movie, you have a juggernaut hit. You have a hit. So I do not understand this idea of like everybody's got to love it. Fuck that. By the way, you know how few people love the Friday the 13th movies as a franchise? Like we think it's this, it's everybody loves this. That is just not true.
I agree.
I mean, the number of people I know who hate horror movies, like, oh, I don't want it. And horror movies make more money than any other kind of film. We're the ones, right? For the budgets we do to the money we make, right? I can't tell you how many people tell me how much they hate horror movies. By the way, it's one of the reasons I made Secret Santa, because Secret Santa, everybody tells me, oh, I don't like horror movies. I'm like, listen, watch Secret Santa. Just watch it.
Yeah.
Every one of them comes back to me and goes, wow, I love that. I was like, right, because I drew you in with comedy and then kind of hit you over the head with the fucking horror, but you're in already and you care about the people, so you're good to go. Mm-hmm. So look, I think, yeah, dude, if you can't stand by your work, who the fuck is going to stand by your work?
I agree.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
want to let you know before I go, man. It's been a blast to have you on and to kind of pick your brain. And I think your work is amazing, man. I love
Thank you,
what
dude.
you're doing.
Thank you.
Hearts of Darkness, that's coming out
That
soon.
is, yeah, that'll be out. That'll be out. We're literally waiting for the announcement from the from the Blu-ray printers. It is at the distribution company is Synapse. It's going through Red Shirt Releasing, which is Michael Felsher's releasing arm of Synapse. Michael Felsher directed the movie,
Okay.
and it is, man, it is so good. I'm so proud of this movie. We also were doing a VHS release through
Okay,
through
cool.
retro releasing. They're amazing. I'm truly, just before we were talking, I was approving box art for the VHS.
Nice.
Yeah, so everything is done. It's all at the printers now. I'm just waiting for them to tell me this is the release date, but it should be within the next month.
Okay.
And everybody who contributed to the movie will be getting their copies weeks before anybody else
Awesome.
can.
Awesome.
And I'm not going to be streaming the movie for 6 months to a year. Will not stream it
Okay.
because streaming is killing our industry. It's killing us.
One of the things, yeah.
We got to go to physical. We got to go back to physical media, folks. Like, people ain't getting it. And by the way, I just heard something so fucking disturbing last night. Just last night, we were at a karaoke bar, and someone was playing the Mulan song "Be a Man."
Uh-huh.
Right? Do you know that if you watch that movie on Disney Plus, they
They
cut that
changed
song.
it.
They cut it. They cut it. It's not in there anymore
Wow.
because somebody considered it offensive. What the fuck are we doing?
It's
What are we doing?
That is terrible. Wow.
That's the best song in the movie
It
Mulan.
really is. It really is. It really is. Wow.
I was
I'm
like, are you gonna cut somewhere over the rainbow from Wizard of Oz next? Like, what the fuck is wrong with everyone?
look, I'm telling you, man, the physical media, I still have it because I mean,
Yep.
it's my
There
thing.
you go. There you
So,
go,
so.
dude. Okay, I can't lift my computer to show you what's in here. In the place that I'm in right now,
Okay.
17,000 movies.
That's awesome. That's
17,000, because I put my money where my mouth is and I pay for the movies that people have made. I put my fucking money in their pocket because they made something. I need to pay to own it, to see it. This is something that we've forgotten. Dude, Secret Santa, before it was released, before it actually was released in North America, it had been stolen 1 million times.
damn.
That's how does anybody expect us to keep making movies? We can't.
Yeah.
Filmmakers cannot survive if we can't make money with what we build. Everybody wants it for free. No, you can't have it for free, motherfucker. No. Like, what is wrong with everyone?
Yeah.
Like, if I told somebody, go to your job, and I'm not going to pay you to do your job, just go to your job.
It's wild.
Do the work. I'm not paying you. Well, you would not stay in that job. That's what people are asking filmmakers to do right now.
Crazy.
And we can't do it.
No.
Yeah.
But Adam, hey man, it's been a blast.
I agree.
I hope to see more projects from you.
Oh, you're going to see a lot more from me, man. We're
That's
doing a
what I'm
lot of
talking
stuff.
about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
That's what I love
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks,
I
dude.
love it. I'm a fan over here. I appreciate it, and hopefully, I can have you on again when you
Love
come
to.
out with more stuff. So,
You got it. You got.
all right,
I'm
man.
shooting a new movie by the end of the year called How to Survive a Game Night, and it's kind of it's a Secret Santa style movie. We're
Ooh,
doing
okay.
ultra low again, and it is fucking nasty. It is a
Okay.
crazy fucking movie. So,
There you go, man. Well, I
yep,
love to see it, man. Thank you so much, Adam, man. I
dude,
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure.
Hey, God bless, brother.
You too, brother.